Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Well, it all depends on the question.
Can you tell me what effect Martin Luther King's death has had on you?
It hasn't had any on me personally. I don't know. I think that the way everything is turning out, that they're bending over backwards to idolize him, and I think that he was a very fine man.
Has it affected your decision? Hang on a sec, sweetheart. Has it affected your feelings about Negroes in general?
Well, I always have had a good feeling about them, so I mean, I don't know whether I speak, for myself personally. I really don't feel any way prejudiced or anything about them. I think perhaps his death may have been, it may work in the reverse, and that people will treat him as a martyr, and maybe bend over backwards to, make everything better for the Negroes.
Would you work towards that end?
Oh, certainly, of course. I'm all for it. I think that perhaps this is a horrible way to make people realize that they have to stand up and make this a good country, really, And
I'm wondering if you would comment for me on what you think the effect of Martin Luther King's death has been.
Well, I think it'll bring around a lot of people to realize that it's best not to be violent.
What do you think of the violence since his death?
I was in Washington the last 4 days as it happens, and I was disturbed by the situation down there. It's terrible. The violence going on right down there now, just contrary to what he stood for.
How do you feel about Negroes?
Well, I think they've got to be given a little better break than they have been given.
Would you work to that end now?
Yes, I always have.
More so than you have in the past?
I travel on the road. I meet a lot of them. I do business with some of them. And I think we've got to realize that they've got to be given a little better break in this country.
Thank you. Madam, what are you going to tell your children about Martin Luther King's death and Negroes in the future?
Well, that he was died for a good cause. I will tell my children that I believe that everybody should have the same freedom that the white people do. Negro and white should have the same freedom.
Do you feel now that you should do something more about civil rights than maybe you've done in the past?
Yes, I do. I really haven't done anything.
Do you intend to now?
Well, I'll tell you, it's very difficult. I have 4 small ones. My husband travels. But, I will teach my children this. And that if there's anything, if I do have spare time and I could do something, I certainly would.
How do you react to the violence that has followed Dr. King's death in the ghettos?
I think it's terrible. I don't think people should do this. This isn't what he fought for or died for.
Do you think if you were in one of those ghettos you might do the same?
I don't think I would, really, because I feel that I am a good Christian, and that even being poor or living in bad surroundings, I don't feel that I would react this way. Because if I did believe in Dr. King, I wouldn't do this.
Are you ashamed this happened in America?
Yes, I am. I'm very ashamed.
Can you tell me what effect Martin Luther King's death has had on you?
Well, it shook me up pretty good.
You ashamed it happened in America?
No, it shouldn't have never happened anywhere.
What do you think of the violence that's occurred since in some of the cities?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say anything about it.
What do you think of Negroes?
Well, I think they're just as good as any white people are.
Do you think they should have full equality?
They should, yes.
What would you...
Well, they're human, same as anybody else.
What would you do to help them get it now?
I'd do anything I could to help them.
Have you in the past?
I've been trying, yes, sir. I sure have.
Okay, Vinny. Can you tell me what your thoughts are now, a couple of days after Martin Luther King's death?
Well, I'm shocked and horrified like everybody else, and I only hope that his death will be of some benefit to the interracial situation. I think a lot of people are reacting the wrong way about it, with violence, and that'll never do any good. So let's hope that they'll see the light and feel differently about it.
What do you think Congress should do now?
Well, I think they've got to take a very different attitude, particularly the southern senators and representatives, and get going on really opening up the situation for the colored people.
What is your
equal opportunities?
What is your profession, sir?
I'm a lawyer.
Little difference between Negroes and whites in America?
Well, there certainly has been, but there shouldn't be. I mean, the colored people that have benefited from education and have shown that they have the spirit to be real Americans, no reason at all why they should be discriminated against.
What do you think the biggest stumbling block is to the Negro cause?
Oh, this fanatical attitude of a lot of them that they're being oppressed and they have to go out and be violent and react violently and steal and rob to show their feelings about it. That's hurting them more than anything, I believe.
Do you think it's better to maintain law and order in this country or to have justice here?
We have to have both. Justice is absolutely essential, but law and order is necessary too. They're not antipathetic terms. I mean, they should go together.
Thank you, sir. Okay, you're rolling. And what has been your reaction over the last couple of days since Martin Luther King was murdered?
Well, no comment. I haven't got nothing to say about that.
No comment on his death whatsoever?
No.
No feelings about it?
Well, I feel sorry that things like this have happened, naturally, and it's just one of those things that has to be corrected, and it's a long time being corrected. That's the trouble.
What do you think could be done to correct it now?
Well, I think they're on the right path anyhow. I think they're doing a lot of talking about it, preaching and whatnot. I think that'll conclude the whole situation.
Has your general reaction to Negroes changed at all?
No, it never has. I do business with some of these people.
You ashamed this happened in America?
I am, yes. It's a disgrace, I think.
What's wrong with America then?
Nothing's wrong with America. I'm 100% American.
Why does it happen here?
I guess I wouldn't know. They've got too many of the foreign element coming in here. I think it's wrecking our country.
What do you mean by the foreign element?
Well, they're coming from all over the world, and it makes it rough for the average American person.
Are you what, second, third generation American?
No, I'm a second, yeah.
Where'd your parents come from?
Germany. My father came from Germany when he was a very young man.
And you think anything unusual about the rioting that's occurred since Martin Luther King's death?
No, I wouldn't say that, no.
Doesn't upset you?
Well, everybody's upset about this whole situation. What can they do about it?
Well, what would you do about it now?
Well, I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, the way it's going is out of hand completely right now. When I have to bring out the militia, why, it's pretty rough.
Should black Americans and white Americans be the same?
Well, I think we should all unite, and it's one thing we have to do to keep peace today.
Where are you from?
Parsippany.
Where?
Parsippany.
Parsippany. What's your reaction been to Dr. Martin Luther King's death in the couple of days since?
Well, I think it's a tragic thing. I don't think it should have happened, but we'll just have to go on without it.
If you were living in one of those ghettos, do you think you might have rioted as a result of it?
No, I don't think so.
What's your reaction to the riot?
As far as I'm concerned, there always have been.
Thank you.
You're rolling.
What do you think may happen now in America as a result of Dr. King's death?
Oh, I think a lot of people will be made more aware of the crisis that we're in.
Do you think he died in vain, or did it accomplish something?
Definitely not. Never in vain. That there really is no difference. I don't have any prejudice at all.
Thank you. What was the reaction in your family over the last couple of days to Martin Luther King's death?
Oh, I think we were shocked. I think we compared it in our minds to the assassination of Kennedy. And I think that everyone is shocked that such a terrible thing could happen in this country.
How old are your children?
7.5, 5.5.
And what have you told them about Negroes?
What have I told them? That they are citizens of the United States who have not been given their chance. And I tell them to always treat colored people with respect. I've heard them use expressions like niggers and stuff like that, words like that they didn't hear at home, and I tried to correct them anytime I've heard them.
What do you think is going to happen in America now?
I know what I'd like to see happen. I don't know whether it will happen or not, that something like this possibly could pull people together to make them more aware of the colored people, that, what they have been lacking through the years in the field, particularly of education, I think.
Thank you. Okay, you can move around anywhere you want. What has your reaction been over the last couple of days to Martin Luther King's death?
A very sad story.
What do you think is going to happen now?
I think the people are going to get together and first realize how important it is to have love.
What are you going to do to that end?
The same as I've done before.
Which was?
To keep a happy relationship between people.
What do you think of Negroes?
As good as any white man.
Are they equal in this country?
Equal in the manner of, let me put it this way. Equal in the manner of wanting to be good citizens. But they are not being treated right in many ways.
Why does this kind of thing happen in America?
Hi there.
Personally.
Hang on one second. Why does this kind of thing happen in America, do you think?
Our way of living is so big. The youngsters want so much, and it's not giving an equal chance to the colored boy, where he could go to school, get the same feeling of wanting to have the advantages the average boy does have.
Is the violence in some of the Negro ghettos justified then?
No. No.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Early? How old are they?
Ricky's almost 3 and Michael is just 9.
And what have you taught them up until now about Negroes?
Not to be prejudiced.
What's your
There's
reaction?
no difference between. Color of skin is all.
Where do you think America's going to go now after the death of Martin Luther King?
I don't know. It's frightening, really. I hope we go the right way and not the wrong way.
Do you think you now have to do something about this personally?
Yes, but what, I'm not sure.
Have you any solutions in your own mind to what may happen in the
No,
future?
I sure don't. I wished we all did, but I don't.
Do you think that everybody could do something?
Yes?
Are you ashamed this happened in America?
Yes, I'm ashamed it happened in America. I've lived overseas, and people aren't real proud of we Americans overseas, and to have something like this happen doesn't make us look any better in the eyes of the other people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, naturally, it's one of regret and sorrow.
Where do you think the civil rights cause goes from here?
I hope it goes forward.
Have you ever worked for civil rights?
No.
Do you feel a need to now?
Well, to the extent that I sympathize with them and so forth, but not actively, no.
What about the resultant rioting and rebellion in the ghettos? Does that upset you?
Yes, tremendously.
In what regard particularly?
Well, I don't think it's doing civil rights any good.
What do you think of Negroes generally?
Which?
Negroes generally.
I don't think any different of them than anybody else.
Do you think they have full equality in this country?
Not complete. Not complete. In certain sections they do.
How would you say, sir, that Negroes could get full equality in America?
I don't know, except that they might continue to press for it. I suppose it's a matter of education for us white people that we eventually will see to it that they get their rights and equality.
Do you think that Martin Luther King's death sort of brought white America up short?
I'm afraid it did.
Why do you think it took this to make it happen?
I'm afraid that they might go overboard a bit.
What's overboard?
In that they might do things that they might regret later on. The haste in doing things now they might do something that would sort of go to extremes in one way.
As I've walked up and down this street in Ridgefield, people here have said that everybody's going to say the right thing to me and tell me that they're liberal and not prejudiced, but underneath everybody is. Is there any grain of truth in that?
I don't think so. I think a lot of white people are sympathetic to the Negro. I think eventually they're going to get their rights, but there are, of course, a lot of people who are prejudiced toward them and will continue to be for some time, I suppose.
Do you think the civil rights movement is moving too quickly?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you. The cars here come and go on Ridgewood Avenue in Ridgewood, New Jersey. It's not a big town, nor is it a very small town, the size of many American towns. And 2 days after the death of Martin Luther King, we came here to find out just how people felt and where they thought the country might go from here. This is the residential district. Middle class, fairly well-to-do. That middle class that Martin Luther King felt was to be a stumbling block to the real progress of civil rights in America. The people who live out here shop down there also on Ridgewood Avenue. We talked to some of them. The residential avenue, down Ridgewood Avenue is the commercial district where people who live here do their shopping. We talked to some of them about how they felt now and where they thought the country might go from here. After about 4 years of reporting civil rights in America, perhaps this is the time to make only one observation. Nobody in America ever admits to prejudice when they're on camera. This is Peter Jennings in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And so this small group of people we talked to in Ridgewood, New Jersey admits to shock, a feeling which is fairly synonymous across the nation. They also admit to a greater need for urgency, more need for something to be done in America now. This is Peter Jennings in Ridgewood, New Jersey. I don't like that. I'm going to write something. And so in a town of slightly less than 30,000, we talked to, at the most, 24. Those we talked to admit to being shocked. They admit to having... Sorry. Hold it. And so in a town of less than 30,000, we talked to, in a couple of hours at best, 24. Those 24, 25 people admit to being shocked. They admit to being more concerned about the future. On camera, they do not admit to being at all prejudiced. But privately, they do acknowledge that they may have to do a little more in the future than they have in the past. This is Peter Jennings in